The Bengals go down in their 2022 regular season opener. Hi again, everyone. I'm James Erpine. She is Elise Jesse, and we're with Cincinnati Bengals Talk, where the Bengals go down. I don't think anyone was really expecting this, and this was about as wild of a roller coaster game as you could imagine. The Steelers beat the Bengals 23-20 in overtime. Joe Burrow, 5 turnovers, 4 interceptions. I mean, missed kicks, injuries to long snappers, derailing things. This season opener had everything, Elise.
It really did, and a lot of unexpected things happened in this game. I don't think anybody was expecting Joe Burrow to throw 4 interceptions and also have a 5th turnover. I don't think anybody was expecting Evan McPherson to miss some critical kicks in this game. And we didn't expect Boswell to kick a thud right off the upright. No one was expecting that. This game was intense. It was crazy, going all the way to sudden death. The players in the locker room, they were pissed off. You could tell that.
Sure.
But they didn't seem disappointed or worried necessarily. Mm-hmm. They just kept talking about how they still have 16 opportunities and this is not going to end their season and all that stuff. So go back to the drawing board. What other choice do they have?
Yeah, I keep thinking about the picture I have in my head right now, and I think he might still be in there, but we talked about it in the locker room. Joe Burrow just staring straight ahead at his locker. And no, we couldn't take photos or video for those wondering, but there's no one madder than him about this performance. And look, they had their chances, and we'll talk about those chances. But if I would have said going into it 5 turnovers, 4 interceptions, and again, they weren't all on him, but if I would have said that, we would have thought this might have been 40-20, not 23-20.
Yes.
And instead, the Bengals had their chances, and you saw me. I had like 4 different game stories written, multiple wins. The Chase Burrow walk-off at the end of regulation. I had that story. I had the loss story, of course. I had the loss story in overtime. I had the win story in overtime. I had the tie in overtime. So there's 5 or 6 different stories and versions, and that's just how crazy it was. So what stands out the most right now, and it's an instant reaction, outside of the turnovers to you, when it comes to this wild, wacky roller coaster of a game?
A couple of things really do. The biggest thing right now that sticks out to me is 7 sacks. No one was expecting him to be sacked that many times. We all knew that the offensive line, this was their first time really playing at game speed together and getting used to each other. LC kind of mentioned that they're still getting used to each other a little bit out on the field. But even with that consideration, I was not expecting him to be sacked 7 times. I also thought that I would see Joe Burrow scramble a little bit more and take things into his own hands, a little bit more quarterback sneaks, scrambling down the field. I was truly expecting to see more of that, and maybe he was seeing something that the Pittsburgh Steelers defense was giving him that did not allow him to jump into that mode of Joe.
And we saw that it worked in the fourth quarter as we get rained on. By the way, we're not allowed on the field right now. It's not because of the rain. It's because of the lightning. So, the security didn't allow us. So we have to film in the tunnel, and we're getting drenched we got laptops and stuff. So this might be a quicker one than you're used to here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk, but we'll have plenty. But, yeah, to me, the decisions down the stretch are something to watch. Zach Taylor making that call on 3rd down, and Kevin Huber getting the snap down, and I think the laces were the wrong way. Evan McPherson doesn't miss 29-yard field goals, even though he did take the blame for it afterwards, kind of put it on him. Mitch Wilcox obviously came in for Clark Harris, who suffered a torn biceps. Mitch Wilcox won't be the long snapper next week. It'll be Cal Adamitis, an undrafted rookie out of Pittsburgh. But, yeah, it's wild because it took all of those things to happen, and I agree, that decision that Zach Taylor made to do that versus just keeping the offense on the field, the offense was rolling. And so that's going to be questioned when you lose. And that was one of the questions I think about Zach Taylor still after last year's Super Bowl run, is the situational stuff. So I still think that's a question. I understand the logic of doing what he did. Still a question mark, and I know people are going to be critical, but just say everything out loud. 5 turnovers. Tee Higgins goes down. They lose their long snapper.
7 sacks.
Was it 7? Did it? Yeah, it was 7. It was 6. It ended up getting to 7. Yeah, 10 quarterback hits. There's a lot they need to work on, and yet you looked up and they had a shot to win the game at the end. So it's crazy. I think they're really good still. That part, even after today, hasn't changed, even though I think they lost to an inferior team.
Well, yeah, and I'll be honest, I'm going to agree with you on the questionable play calling towards the end. It seemed more to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, call me out, because it seemed to me like Zach was making that play call to play for a tie instead of playing to win. And I would like to see a little bit more aggression in those situations. But, I mean, I don't get paid to be the head coach. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. At the end, you're right. There were times like that where it's tough because and he was asked this, there's no real blueprint to losing your long snapper. You have a backup one, but it's not like you can go through that situation all the time. I don't think I've ever seen that where a long snapper just can't go. And I think he suffered a torn biceps, Clark Harris, so he's going to be out for the year if that's the case. So wild times here at Paycor Stadium, and it's been wild weather. It was a wacky season opener. The good news is, like you said, there are 16 more of them, and we're going to be covering every single one, whether it's right here at Paycor Stadium or on the road all season long. So make sure you check out the OT with Elise Jesse this Thursday. I'm sure this 8 p.m. Eastern, by the way.
Yeah.
I think we're going to keep it at that time. We'll see. And then Joe Goodberry is going to have you covered. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of film this week on Bengals on the Brain. So make sure you check out all of our post-game coverage. For Elise Jesse, I'm James Erpine signing off for now here at Paycor Stadium, where the Bengals fall 23-20 in overtime to the Pittsburgh Steelers.